皆様、大変お待たせいたしました。これより、ダライラマ法王と科学者の対話、日本からの発信を開始いたします。私は司会を担当いたします、川島恵子と申します。どうぞよろしくお願いいたします。この講演は、宇宙や生命のより深い理解のため、また世界の諸問題の解決のために、チベット仏教の最高指導者で、ノーベル平和賞受賞者、ダライラマ14世、ダライラマ法王14世と日本を代表する科学者たちが、共に互いの境界線を越え、交わることで、今までにない新たな科学の創造の可能性に挑むという趣旨により、本日と明日、2日間開催いたします。それでは、早速、ダライラマ法王をステージにお迎えいたします。皆様、盛大な拍手でお迎えください。これより少しの時間、マスコミへの撮影タイムとさせていただきます。ではこれよりダライラマ法王によるオープニングスピーチをお願いいたします。
Only translation correct, simultaneous way. Right. Respected senior elder Buddhist brothers and sisters, as well as senior respected scientists and brothers and sisters. I think this is almost the first time dialogue between Buddhist, sort of say, between Buddhist concept or Buddhist thinking and modern scientists, sort of say, or concept more seriously. So indeed, I'm very, very happy and great honor to sit with Japanese well-known scientist. So I'm very happy. Now reason, firstly, since my childhood, I developed sort of interest about mechanics. Uh, Actually, I think my first visit to Japan, perhaps I think 1967 or something. So I very much impressed the what call bullet train, isn't it? Kasa, bullet train, right? So I immediately, you see, feel what is the sort of the mechanic work inside. So that's why, you see, since my childhood, I have some keen interest about this technology thing. Then with science. Firstly, I think about the cosmology, moons and stars. When I was in Tibet, usually, you see, we have sort of view, moon have its own light, more cooler nature of light. Sun, very strong light, but hot. Moon's light is a little bit sort of cool. Then one sort of very powerful sort of telescope, which I think 13th Dalai Lama received from some, I think, the guest, sorry. No. I think some foreign visitors, I think. You see, he kept, you see, that very strong sort of telescope. So I used to use this telescope during night to moon. Then I found, you see, there are, you see, something like rock mountains. At the shade, the early night is the sun this side. So shade is to come other side. And then one, because of the Dawadus, what do you call? Creator survey. Creator. You see the western side, shadow there. East side, no shadow. So, creator. So it is very clear. Moon, no light, but light only from sun. Clear. So I think 1950, I think 56, 57, around that period. One full moon sort of night. I arranged my telescope and I invited my two tutors. I'm quite sure, still believe the moon has its own light. So I show, I requested my tutor, please look whether there is light on its moon, whether light come from sun. So they seriously they watch and then agree. Yes, moon, no light. Light come from sun. So like that, you see, I have a keen interest about the scientific explanation about cosmology, these things. Then also biology. And then physics, like particularly like quantum physics. So these are the main sort of the field where I have sort of keen interest. So after we came to India, become refugee. The new opportunity is in meeting with scientist, well-known scientist. Then gradually, now for example, the quantum physicist, the late David Bohm, and then another, the late von Weizsäcker, German. From these two great physicists, actually I sort of, not only just interview, but actually I try to learn from these two professors. But I usually is telling these two professors really are wonderful sort of professors. But I, as a student, really hopeless. Reason, while I listen, the explanation seems I understand is something. After finishing that lesson, nothing left here. So that's why I describe a wonderful teacher, but hopeless student. So then, mainly, you see, my personal sort of curiosity is in meeting with scientists. Oh, wonderful. These scientists, some American, some German, some English, some Indian, like that. I found, there is some kind of spirit of genuine internationalism. Don't concern about what nationality, what country. Everybody is focusing their own subject. And then these genuine scientists, their mind very open. Remain skepticism and then open mind. Very unbiased. They always look any subject objectively. So these are the factors which I develop attraction, like that. So then, 40 years ago, I think early, I think 60 or early 70s, I think. Because I already have sort of serious sort of interest about this, the modern science. So then, one American lady who married with one Tibetan, she a Buddhist, following Tibetan Buddhism. So I just express, I want to have serious sort of discussion or dialogue with modern scientists. Then she responded to me, be careful. Science is killer of religious faith. She gave me warning. Then I thought, think again. Then Buddhist tradition, particularly Nalanda tradition, is very much sort of emphasize the importance of skepticism and investigate. Without skepticism, no question rise. No question, no investigation. No investigation, you can't find the reality. So investigation, research is very essential in order to learn the reality, in order to know the reality. There's always a gap, appearance and reality. So if we just content on the basis of appearance, then we never reach the real reality. We must remain skepticism and then investigate. That's the Nalanda tradition. Very much emphasis on that. They always say, take one sort of quotation of Buddha's own word. That is, you say, Buddha state, "O my follower, monks or scholars should not accept my teaching out of faith, out of devotion, but rather thorough investigation, experiment. Through that way, once you develop conviction, then follow, then accept my teaching." So that's the Buddhism in general, particularly the Nalanda tradition, like Lungsu Pusa, and all these great Nalanda masters, they follow this sort of Buddha's advice. Therefore, they even sort of investigate Buddha's own word. This Buddha's word, teaching, you cannot accept literally, because if you accept, you see, this sort of concept, and the logic will it will contradict with logic, logical approach. So even Buddha's own word, they usually, you see, to make it, investigate, and those concepts which find logical support, then that we can literally accept. Those points which, although the scripture mentioned, I mean, text, Buddha's own word, you see, mentioned, but if find contradiction with logical research, investigation, then you should not accept, you see, that literally. So that's a Nalanda tradition sort of way of approach. So therefore, I felt, no danger. No need cautious. Meeting with scientists, no problem. So then about 30 years, since 30 years, I had sort of serious sort of discussion with scientists. Actually, you see, my sort of motivation is merely education, like that. As a result, we Buddhists, also the student or Nalanda tradition, or student of Nalanda tradition, see useful information from modern scientific sort of findings, in cosmology or the neurobiology, or all these in these fields. It's very useful information. I think as far as knowledge about matter is concerned, modern science is much developed. Buddhist science about matter, although the essence, like atom, these things mentioned, but not much developed, because no instrument. In modern scientists, you see, we use instrument, so their knowledge is more precise. So to us, very, very useful to learn from them. One casualty is Buddhist cosmology. Basically, you see, same, like Darwinian theory, and also all the phenomena, all sort of the physical world is to come from space, or from subtle energy. Then you see some kind of evolution. becoming more grosser, 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 and finally, like this planet. And then also dissolution, right? Dissolution also, you see, the solid dissolve liquid, liquid dissolve energy, energy dissolve space. These basically same. But now you see the particular sort of planet, world, our world. One Abhidhamma Kosha Karika, one Nalendra Master, the Basuband, the younger brother of Arya Asanga. You see, in his writing, mentioned flat, world flat, and in the center, Mount Meru. The sun and the moon, same level, go around Mount Meru. That's why, you see, we experience day and night. Now, after learning, you see, the modern sort of, how to say, cosmology and the suns, moons, all these stars, you see, they actually, you see, they measured, actually measured and calculate. So that's really, is it convincing? Therefore, now, I hope I still Buddhist monk, but no longer accept, you see, that kind of sort of description, Mount Meru. So that's one casualty as a result of learning from scientific sort of explanation about world, about planet, like that. So sometimes I, you see, telling Buddhist, main purpose of coming Buddha, main purpose of appearance of Buddha, not making map of this planet, but main purpose of Buddha come on this planet, and his teaching is Four Noble Truths. How to transform our mind. That's the main purpose. The description of this world, that's minor. If you see it goes against this scientific finding, no problem. Like that. So then, in inner world or world of mind is concerned, Western psychology compare ancient Indian psychology. The Western psychology is like kindergarten's knowledge. So therefore, to the scientist, the ancient Indian sort of psychology, particularly Buddhist psychology, Buddhist sort of science of mind, is immense help to modern scientists. And then also, you know, the brain specialist and the scientists about health. Now in these two fields, more and more scientists now really showing genuine interest for medical science, for healthy body. Healthy mind is very, very essential. Too much stress here, too much worry, or anger, hatred is actually eating our immune system. Other hand, more compassionate mind or sense of concern of others' well-being, that brings self-confidence. That creates inner strength, optimism. So that is very, very important for physical health. Then brain specialist. Now their knowledge about brain, I think every year, you see, they developing, progressing. But still, there are a lot of mysterious things there. So then they begin to show interest, the emotions. There is very clear link, brain movement and emotions. Sometimes, first, some sort of movement in the brain, and then certain emotions come. Sometimes, just one thought comes and effect on brain. That's now obvious. In America, Wisconsin University, and then Emory University, the Stanford University, and then some other university. In India also some university. Actually, you see, they found through training of mind, or through sort of certain training, and also mindfulness. You see, this actually change the brain plus kasa 6 plus kasa plus what called? Oh, that one. That word I can't pronounce. So actually now they saw that. See, through training of mind, you see, actually some effect on our brain. It actually now happened. So therefore, the brain specialist, like Richard Davidson, well-known scientist, neuroscientist, after he carried some sort of experiment, and also some other university which I mentioned. This actually is the last, I think, few years. They actually carry some experiment, carry some project as an experiment. The result is quite concrete. So therefore, initially, when I I developed desire, now the study of modern science in our monastic institution. At the beginning, the elder scholars, a little bit reservation. Then we discuss from time to time the necessity study modern science in our monastic academic field. Then, since I think last 7 years, 7 years, we already started selected student, mainly monk student, and some nuns also. You see, they study about science. Now this year, now we formally sort of decided. Now, lesson of science must include in our curriculum, part of the curriculum. So we formally decided. So therefore, that's sort of the stage of progress like that. Now I think implication. Two things. One, the entirely academic knowledge, right? Concern about academic and knowledge. Modern science, of course, come from West. So modern science is very much, very much involved, as I mentioned earlier, physical world, external things. So obviously, day by day, we experience the feeling experience. These feelings, experience, views cannot explain thoroughly, 100% by neuron brain sort of movement. You can learn some broad, but detail, very difficult to explain. One time, I think at the beginning of my sort of dialogue with some scientist, some scientist is trying to know human brain out of sort of observation of birds or animals sort of movement. And I felt, oh yeah, our brain is something much, much more sophisticated than animal brain. So trying to know human mind, examine on bird's brain, that's quite amazing. So then, gradually, you see scientists, our dialogue with scientists, then they really, very much sort of, interested about the information about a variety of thought and the system of the emotions. So they are very, very eager bring more information about different variety of thought or emotion and how to deal with this emotion. So now, some universities, as I mentioned earlier, already you see carry some project. And then also you see with also the, late Varela, great scientist, Chilean, great scientist, and myself, you see, we start one small, group that we call Mind Life. So now, year by year, you see this organization really now becoming quite popular in America. Just about 3 weeks ago, I think about 2 weeks ago, we decided now you see these activities should expand Europe and Asia and India and some other, and possibly Japan, Taiwan, like that. We already decided. So that's the economic field. Now another field. 20th century, since science developed, usually sometimes I used to telling this way, last over 3,000-4,000 years, you see people, whenever we face some problem, we always pray to God or to mysterious force. But then about 200 years, science and technology develop. Then technology brings immediately what we want. Last 3,000-4,000 years, you see, we only pray, not very sure whether the goal which we want materialize or not through prayer, not very sure. But science and technology immediately bring result. So therefore, logically, you see, people pay more attention about science and technology rather than religious or say prayer. Religious prayer, I think every religion now gradually become like ritual or fashion, like that. Not much serious, isn't it? So that's the situation. But look, science, technology, wonderful invention. Original sort of people who create these things, really good intention. Maybe some personal sort of curiosity, but basically good intention. But then, look, 20th century, according to some historian, around 200 millions of people killed through violence. Although war, violence is part of human history, but the destruction is much increased because of the technology, including nuclear weapon. You Japanese brothers, sisters, actually suffer from nuclear atom bomb. Hiroshima, Nagasaki. Terrible. So this technology or the science is something wrong? No, certainly not. Then the question or answer is the user of science and technology, these marvelous inventions, innovation used for destructive. So nuclear weapon itself, nothing wrong. But we use this for destruction. So that related with here, our mind. So therefore, the 20th century, I usually call 20th century becomes century of violence, century of bloodshed. All the other part, a lot of innovation, a lot of development in the 20th century, last century. I think most important century of human history. But unfortunately, that century also becomes century of bloodshed, century of fear. I also usually have some experience. When the East German and West Germany is there, East Germany, West Germany divided, and Berlin also divided. See, few occasion, I think one occasion, at least one occasion, I have been very border, the West Germany's border. I mean, so when I sleep night, little concern or little fear. If something happened, then the weapons, Warsaw Pact's weapon, including some tactical nuclear weapon, ready to shoot to the West Germany. So if something happened, then I may survive or may not tomorrow. See, that kind of sort of fear, really. Then those German people on the border, or not only border, the whole Europe, remain constant fear. It's a human negative emotion, 1,000 years there. But these wonderful sort of technology, these things become disposal of negative emotion. So therefore, now this 21st century, I think the later part of 20th century, I think people really fed up about violence. Like now, Now, even today, I think Syria, how many innocent people killed without a purpose? Really, lack of, I say, this sense of concern, of well-being of other, or respect of others' life. Now it's quite clear. And global economic crisis, the ecology crisis, family problem. I think in Japan, I was told, you see a lot of sort of suicide cases. I think first Sweden. I think Sweden, the social welfare, what call social welfare is concerned, very good. But the suicide rate quite high. Then Japan. Why? Too much negative emotion, anger. That anger, sometimes anger himself or herself, and suicide. So that now, so therefore, now we are really facing problems. So these problems can solve through technology, through science alone? No, certainly not. As I mentioned earlier, more technology, more destructive, powerful, more suffering. So now, some kind of controller of these, or say the scientific knowledge or technology, turn for constructive. Is ultimately related here. So therefore, that's one purpose. Now, time come. We must make more effort to make awareness about human compassion, which is all major religious traditions, or say the main message, main practice. So all major religious traditions have, I think, great potential. Secondly, there are large number of non-believers also there. I think recently I saw one article on newspaper in America. It mentioned about 30% of American not much interest about religion. So therefore, you see, we need some way, some method to applicable to those non-believers. So I usually say the secular ethics. Now here, the backbone of secular ethics is scientific finding. Warm-heartedness, healthy mind, healthy body. With healthy mind, healthy family, healthy society. Eventually, healthy humanity. So therefore, our scientific research, another responsibility is to educate people through scientific basis. On the scientific basis, the warm-heartedness is very useful for your own day-to-day of the life, including your physical health. So that's the now two purpose, also dialogue. One, simply extend our knowledge in academic field. And second, out of our knowledge, how to educate people, how to transform our society, more compassionate society. So that's the main purpose. So now that's all, I think, too long. Thank you.
ダライ・ラマ法王によるオープニングスピーチでした。法王が積極的に科学者との対話を続けられる意味がよくわかりました。どうもありがとうございました。